If you want an idea of how little respect Donald Trump has for his base and how little he thinks he or the Republicans need to do to win them over, I just came across this message. I was looking at his True Social because he's posting a lot about how the border bill needs to be killed or whatever. And he has a bleat in all caps that reads, "This is the Trump stock market because my polls against Biden are so good that investors are projecting that I will win and that will drive the market up. Everything else is terrible." So the idea is that Republicans have been facing pressure over the last week or so, including Sean Hannity, for how they had talked a lot about the stock market under President Trump, how it was good, and that's proof that Trump is doing good. So now the stock market is doing good under Biden. So doesn't that mean that Biden is doing a good job? And they've dealt with that in different ways. Sean Hannity says, "Well, I never really thought it was a good proxy for the economy, but it was just one of many things I was talking about under Trump, so I don't have to give him credit." But what Trump is saying is that the entire stock market is being pumped by people who are excited about the idea that he could soon be president once again. But think about how that would actually work in practice. So he polls well against Biden, which means that he's going to be president, which excites investors, so they invest, which improves the stock market. But as we know, when the stock market is doing better, that's supposed to represent that the economy is doing better. And Joe Biden is the incumbent president. And if the economy is doing better, then that means that he's probably going to improve in the polls, which means that Trump's polling advantage would recede, which means investors would have less faith that he's going to become president. So they're going to disinvest. They're going to pull out some of their investments. So where exactly does this loop end? Again, none of this makes any sense. That is one of the most juvenile, transparently nonsensical arguments that we have had to talk about on the show. And yet Fox News is gonna buy it. His base is gonna buy it. His base, many of whom, like most Americans, aren't even able to invest because things have gotten so tough. But that's how little actual respect he has for his audience, that he can throw out something like that he came up with while sitting on the toilet. And unfortunately, some people are gonna buy it. Anyway, I don't know if you have any thought about that. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. Base is going to buy it. Unfortunately, I think it's a mix of people just wanting to lean in and to take someone's word for it, not to have to do any of the work themselves. Also, the fact that fear mongering has been very effective in the United States. And then lastly, our opposition to education, keeping people dumb so you can keep them under control, is something that we're able to leverage and really take advantage of. So I think the culmination of those three things will make it so incredibly easy for people to latch on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is unfortunate that we have obviously so much access to so much information, and yet the propaganda remains seemingly just as effective. Like people's ability to break through these narratives, to understand what's really going on. Like you have a proliferation of voices, so you don't have to get information just through like the 2 or 3 news channels that we had a couple generations ago, and you have something like TikTok, which lowers the barrier of entry of people being able to comment on what's going on to virtually nothing. And yet it doesn't seem as if the conversation has become more nuanced, more knowledgeable, more understanding of context. They're continuing to be conned and they don't even realize it. At the same, I'm just gonna mention one more thing because I think we have a minute. At the same time that he's talking about how whatever is going on in the stock market, he deserves credit for because he might be president in the future, which is such a weird view of causality that I don't understand it. He is attacking Sean Fain. So everyone, you might have seen that Sean Fain had endorsed Joe Biden. Like, he's not a fan of Joe Biden or whatever, but he has been able to accomplish some great things for auto workers. And Donald Trump is utterly trashing him, trashing the industry, trashing the workers, because he believes that like the right hates electric cars or something. So like I don't understand how workers don't see through this. Like when you break down, even like union members are more likely to support Joe Biden, but there's still like a shocking level of support for a guy who doesn't want them to have literally any bargaining power whatsoever, who has repeatedly said that wages are too high. I don't understand how people can continue to work against their own direct economic interests. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.